everybody, and welcome back to D-Ray's shop. This is going to be video number 3 in our series on our 1984 ATC200S. Now we've got the carburetor lined out, got the machine where it starts, runs real good. Now we're going to concentrate on adjusting the valves and the timing chain. I'll show you guys how to do it, so let's get right to it. I've already removed the fuel tank and the seat, so I'm going to zoom in here and show you a few other items that we need to remove to get ready to adjust these valves. Now what you're going to want to remove is the exhaust and intake valve cover cap. You want to take the cam cover off. It's held on by 2 Phillips head screws. And then last, you want to take out the timing plug that's located on top of the crankcase right here. And the timing plug just uses a regular flathead screwdriver. Just remove that, set it aside. Then we'll take our cam cover off. And next we'll remove the valve covers. Now those are 24 millimeter, but if you don't have a good metric wrench set, 15/16 will work just fine. Next we're going to want to turn the engine over by hand and find top dead center so we know that both the valves are closed so that we can adjust them. And the way we do that is you want to turn this engine over by hand until the mark that's on the pulsar coil lines up with the mark on the rotor. Now this rotor also has your mechanical advance built into it, so be sure that that's returning. Now theoretically, when these two marks line up when the engine's running, that is the exact point at which the spark plug fires. So this is going to be slightly before top dead center, but this tells us that we're getting close to top dead center. You can also verify that this is the correct timing on it because you can look down in the timing hole down here on the crankshaft and you should see the F mark lined up. Once we get to this point, we're going to turn that just a little bit further, and just behind the F mark will be the T mark down in the timing plug hole. Once you find that T mark and it's just slightly past this, then you know you're on top dead center and you're ready to adjust your valves. And as you can see now with the T mark lined up on the crank, we're at true top dead center, and our firing marks are just slightly apart from one another. So now we're ready to set those valves. Now according to my handy dandy Honda spec manual, our 1984 ATC200S intake and exhaust valve clearance is cold is 5/100ths of a millimeter or 2/1000ths of an inch. Now guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's a 5/100ths feeler gauge. As you can tell, that's very, very thin. You can kind of get an idea by feeling of it of what kind of clearance that is. So that's a very, very small amount of clearance. Now, you can just imagine this big old fat fingered country boy trying to get in here with a wrench, a screwdriver, and get that feeler gauge down under there and adjust all that stuff. You know, and actually, in reality, fellas, it just ain't gonna happen. I have not used a feeler gauge on one of these little single cylinder Honda engines in a number of years. I've always just kind of set them by feel. Now obviously, when you go to set these valves, if you get them too tight, you just won't feel any clearance at all. And if you get them set a little bit too loose, if you listen very carefully, that one's a little bit loose and you can actually hear the thing ticking. And that's what it's going to sound like when it's running. So what you're going to want to do is just put just a little bit of clearance on there, just enough that you can feel a little bit, but not so much that you can actually hear it tapping. So that's a little too loose right there. So we're just going to adjust that until we get just a little bit of clearance on it, and then we're going to put the caps back on it. Now guys, that adjuster nut on those valves is just a regular 10 millimeter nut. But you can see I was using a kind of a special wrench with a little dog leg made in it. Now if you're interested in one of these, this is a Honda special tool. It was originally designed for the old V4 Magnas and Sabres, and it's made to get down in that little tight pocket so you can get in there and adjust that valve. Now if you're interested in one of these special wrenches, I'll drop a link down below with the part number on it down in the description bar, and you can get one of these at any local Honda motorcycle dealer. It's a real handy tool to have in your box, I guarantee you, because you can see how it was a whole lot easier to get in there with this than it would have been a regular wrench. Heck, I bet even old Dibber's got one of these in his toolbox. Alrighty, now once you're done with adjusting your valves, you got that clearance set like you like it, just put your cap back on, and we're going to do the same procedure for the intake and the exhaust. I'm not going to show that intake valve because it's a little too hard to get a good camera shot on it. But there we have it. All right, now we've got the valves adjusted. We're going to reassemble everything, put all the covers back on, put the timing plug back in, reinstall the spark plug and connect the spark plug cap. Then we're going to go ahead and put the fuel tank and the seat and everything back on, start it up, let it run and warm up a little bit. Then we're going to move on to adjusting the cam chain.